Guest is nationally renowned herbalist and certified holistic specialist, Queen Afua. She is a lecturer and New York Times best-selling author of 4 books, including Sacred Woman, a guide to healing the feminine body, mind, and spirit. Heal Thyself for health and longevity. The City of Wellness, restoring our health through 7 kitchens of consciousness, and her most recent book, Overcoming an Angry Vagina. These books address the current health crises facing African American and other women. Many women have been transformed by their association with Queen Afua. Queen Afua, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Doctor, so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Yes, I'm glad that you're able to make it here, and we're excited about this inaugural opportunity to have a discussion with you here. So I want to ask you several questions, but first and foremost, I want to know, how did you begin this journey?
Well, I began with a quote I'll give. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Fannie Lou Haman.
Yes.
I was age 17. I had arthritis, I had chronic asthma, chronic hay fever, eczema from head to toe. I had headaches, I had PMS. I was really sick.
Right.
But I was also living the all-American fast food, toxic diet lifestyle. And that contributed to my demise.
Okay.
And I was invited to come on a actually holistic retreat. It was an African American holistic retreat.
Okay.
And I came on that retreat, and I remember coming off the bus without my medication. And the asthma kicked in and the eczema kicked in, and I'm saying, oh, what am I going to do? And I heard an inner voice tell me for the first time, eat grapefruits, lemons, and oranges. And I'm like, what? But I did. And I also met with some wonderful holistic people, one of which is Dr. Johnny Moore. He's a master herbalist. He's now an ancestor.
Okay.
He became my spiritual grandfather and told me about the plants and the power in the plants for healing, as Dr. George Washington Carver was. That's a part of African legacy, is using plants for medicine. And so that night, the asthma was still there. I sat in front of a fireplace, and I did not know that the heat from the fire was going to be part of my cleansing.
Right.
I did not know I was even on a fast because I was on liquids all day long, natural, fresh orange juice and grapefruit juice and lemon water and herb tea. I didn't know I was on a fast.
So your fast was accidental.
Yes, but there's no accidents.
Right.
The next day I had my first detox. I didn't realize it was a detox until I started to study about natural healing and the process one goes through when they start to cleanse. And so I detoxed the next morning for 1 hour. Mucus came out of my nose, my mouth, my eyes. That mucus was really the asthma, the hay fever, the allergies, the eczema. And then I said, wait a minute, how did it go without the medication? It went through nature.
Right, and so that's interesting because that's the key.
Yeah.
Is that we find that when we think about alternative or really traditional, going back to nature, right?
Yes.
Is that there's so many ways for us to change our bodies that we don't touch on them.
Yes.
And so I find it interesting because one of the things I was reading about you is that you mix in with this uniquely African-centered spiritual way of thinking about health. So what is that, and how do you do that?
How did it all work out? Well, that's years of research and study, and after healing myself and helping my community, I worked on a book called Sacred Woman, A Guide to Healing the Feminine Body, Mind, and Spirit, which led me to research. And one of the top, I would say, historians in the field is Sino Ankara Sepata. And he put me on my path to begin to study of the most ancient healers. And when I started to study about holistic health, and I started to see the roots of holistic health from Reiki, that's African natural lifestyle, color therapy, astrology, internal hygiene, colon therapy, which I became a colon therapist, vegetarian lifestyle, healing baths, all of that is part of our culture, our tradition.
Okay, so none of this stuff you get in med school.
Well, it started with our roots. It's our roots. Exactly. And then now, but actually, the medical establishment is taking on natural studies now and beginning to incorporate it, because that's the wave of the future, and that's where the people are going. They want to be able to heal themselves and take greater responsibility towards their wellness. So they're seeking our traditions and our ways.
So tell me, there's a lot of different women who come to you and they're looking at all these issues concerning spirituality, but how does spirituality fit within the context of your what you do. Is it just about the Kemetic tradition, or are women welcome from all different spiritual backgrounds?
Well, I'm glad that you didn't say religion, because I'm not practicing religion. I'm practicing a way of life, and our ancestors taught based on a way of life, and that lifestyle was based on ma'at. And an English translation would be balance. That's what holistic health is about. That's why you would go to spiritual houses, is to get the balance, to get the harmony.
Right.
And so that term is called ma'at, which means balance, truth, righteousness, harmony, reciprocity.
Right, right. And that's a Kemetic term, right?
It's a Kemetic term that we all need that balance. And it's based on a scale.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
A scale. On one side of the scale, there is the feather, and the other side is the heart. And it says that our hearts, our ancestors have told us that our hearts must be balanced every day. And if our hearts are heavy, that's an aneurysm, a heart attack, a stroke, depression, violence in the home, quick to argue. All of these are dysfunctions that we have because our hearts are not balanced, and we don't know how to live a balanced lifestyle. So I go back to the beginning. And that's a connective point for all the spiritual houses, whether you're Yoruba, whether you're Kemetic. Well, Kemetic is the foundation. Whether you're Christian, whatever the houses that you're in, we all need that balance and harmony. So the women come from all four directions to learn how to awaken the healer within her, so that she could be more effective in healing her family. And herself as a foundation, her family as an extension.
And now, when you're talking about healing, I know a lot of your works focus on women. Are these things also germane to men?
Well, I'm so glad you asked me that question. Just like this is your beginnings. Last night, I have been doing some gathering for the men, because the men have been asking me, Queen, could you say something to us? Could you write to us specifically? Although Heal Thyself and City of Wellness was for both men and women, but they want me to say something. So I have been gathering. It's called, and the new book I'm working on right now as we speak, I've never said out loud, is Man Heal Thyself.
Okay, well, let's hold that Man Heal Thyself, and we will be back just after a moment.
I'm Jessica Mendoza, U.S. Olympic gold and silver medalist. I never take my eyesight for granted. Neither should you. Doesn't matter how old you are, you could be losing your vision to glaucoma without knowing it. Take care of your sight. Schedule regular eye exams for yourself and those you love. Call 1-800-437-2423 or go to AHAF.org for free information and publications from National Glaucoma Research.
Every day, thousands of people are diagnosed with macular degeneration, a disabling eye disease that leads to severe vision loss. As a scientist conducting research for the American Health Assistance Foundation, I want you to know that there is hope that a cure and new treatments for macular degeneration will soon be found, but only if we can continue our groundbreaking research. Learn about my research. Call 1-800-437-2423 or visit ahaf.org for free publications on eye disease.
Now let's get back to our conversation with Queen Afua. And we were just talking about your brand new book that you're working on. You're working on something special here for men. Can you tell us what the title of that is again?
Well, it's actually, it's being born. It's in its process.
Okay.
Actually, I'm carrying it. It's not born yet, I'm carrying it. Because, you know, my intention was always working with the family.
Yes.
And the women are the ones who come out for the healing, though.
Right.
So I've taught the women, okay, these are things you can do for your mates, for your children, for the elderly, for the community at large. But now the time has come for me to write a book, just a guide to encourage the men, to inspire the men to heal themselves. And I always felt, well, when the men would ask me, they would say, well, Queen, you know, write the book. I said, but I believe that the men are to teach the men.
Right.
But I'm a mother, and I have brave sons.
Yes.
And I believe that I have something that I can give, my portion, which is holistic healing. I can encourage the men, because men are suffering just like the women. The men are suffering from impotency. They're suffering from diabetes. They're suffering from broken hearts. They're suffering from depression.
Right.
And so there's plants, there's foods, there's juices, there's herbs, there's prayers, there's baths. There's so many ways in which to overcome. And so many of our men, they die early. They leave us 40 and 50 years old. And so families are left without our men. And I would say that this book will help to shore up our community and help to stabilize our families.
No, I agree. And as we look here at two of your earlier books, Heal Thyself and The City of Wellness, I mean, I think these are great ways for our community to understand ourselves, really. And they give us this legacy that you're giving now, the continuity. And we're going to bring out your other book in a little while. But I think that here is an example of taking health and wellness into our own hands.
Yes.
And I think that's the key, right? That you've shown us ways to think about how we control and influence our own lives. And not only our own lives, but the lives in our community, right? Because the two go together.
Absolutely. Well, heal thyself is even an affirmation. Just to say, once you pick up the book, you actually already thought about, maybe I can heal myself.
Right.
Maybe I can help myself. Now, if one is seeing their physician, continue seeing your physician. But actually, you can be co-pilots.
Right,
and you can say, well, I'll take these various foods and juices and herbs, and I'll start to heal myself and flush out the sickness and rejuvenate my tissues and cells. And after a month, go back to your physician and say, wait, we can cut back on that medication. We see there's an improvement. So you don't have to just do it blindly and cause the body to go into shock and trauma. And because if you've been on medication for 10, 20 years, it's going to take a minute to make a shift.
Right.
And so you get principles on how to take that on. And then the city of wellness. You know, a city, if a city is impoverished, if a city is in a state of stress, anxiety, suffering, then that's the city that's sick. The city needs wellness.
So the city in this case means what then?
The person.
Ah.
If you heal the person, you heal the city.
Okay.
One person at a time builds a new city.
Okay.
So I'm saying that there's a city of wellness. If you start to heal, that means your family can heal. And just like disease can spread, wellness can also spread. And so we do it through food as medicine, and I give over 250 recipes to begin to cleanse the household. And I said the kitchen is your first line of defense to restore the house, and that's your nutrition kitchen pharmacy.
Okay.
Go inside that kitchen and make juice to begin to heal the bones and joints. For example, if someone had arthritis in the family, by the time you're 35 years old, the pains start to kick in the knees.
Right.
So if you can make half a cup of turnip juice and then a 4th cup of broccoli juice to boost the immune system up, you'll start to feel the body restore itself simply by taking vegetable juice. Absolutely.
Okay. Give us one other little quick secret. If we had one other thing that that was ailing us, say for instance, a common thing in our community is high blood pressure.
High blood pressure.
Hypertension.
Well, we all know about the garlic. You could put that into your vegetable soup, garlic or leeks or scallions, and that helps to lower the blood pressure. And matter of fact, once the soup is almost done, the bean soup, the lentil soup, the vegetable soup, don't even cook it. Chop it up really small and let it steep. It becomes like a tea, and it's more activated to bring the pressure down. And then maybe and then pressure is also connected to the colon. So flush the colon, add some flaxseed to your salads or your flaxseed oil, and it will help to lubricate the colon so some of the congestion will leave the body as well.
Okay, that's wonderful. See, I'm glad you're saying these things because, you know, we need to really think outside the box.
Yes.
And we need to really think how we can do things to heal ourselves, but know that it's not so complex that to have to dig somewhere and do something that people are completely resistant to.
Yes.
If we know that it's in our grasp
absolutely.
and that it's a matter of changing our mindset, then we can do it.
Well, that's why I said to heal thyself is a constant affirmation. Every day you have to wake up again and say, I can heal myself again. I can heal and sometimes we'll fall off. I mean, we survived the holidays. Everyone kind of became food addicts and fell off and under pressure and the stress and the cold weather. So now we can realign this coming in this year. And then I have helpers. I have nature supporters. I teach you about lifestyle development, but I also have formulas to help to support you.
Okay.
One of which is my green rejuvenation formula, my Green Life nutritional formula. You would take that. So if you're tired, if you're fatigued, if you find yourself having poor memory, the body just needs nutrition. Most disease is two things. One is malnourishment. So the body needs nourishment. And one is the body is filled with toxicity, fast foods, processed foods, microwave foods, late night eating, eating under stress, eating on the run, all of this, whether you're a college student or you have a 9-to-5 job and you have your family, everyone needs to be rejuvenated.
I think I snuck a bottle of your special mixtures here, and I think these are this is the Master Herbal Formula 2. Now, what's the difference between Formula 1 and Formula 2?
Actually, it's a marriage made in heaven.
Well, marriages are good.
Yeah, very good. Well, the Green Life Formula is the builder.
Okay.
That gives you the nutrition. That gives you the vitality and the clarity. It's made of spirulina, it's made of wheatgrass, and those are foods from the plants, from the ocean. And then the master herbal formula, those are 13 herbs to actually detox the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, the gallbladder, the spleen. So you get a chance to clear the house. Looking at the house as a body temple, you begin a chance to clean the house out so the house can now be rejuvenated by the Green Life formula. And so that for those who are feeling aged and tired and worn, no matter what your age, you can have vitality all your life.
Correct.
So those two formulas work in conjunction.
Good, good. Well, see, I'm glad that you think about this, and one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is how you look at these things holistically. That is that also, you know, we look at this in terms of how we engage in this as a business, because it's not just being healthy, but I think I wanted to ask you a question about how long have you been engaged in this process of health and wellness as part of your business?
Well, I officially opened my business 29 years ago as Heal Thyself, and then it grew to the Queen Afua Wellness Institute, where I did workshops and seminars and classes. Right now I'm doing emerald green practitioner training and holistic medicine woman training.
Good. Well, I'm going to stop you there. Now, we're going to be right back, and we're going to find out some more great details about Queen Afua's wonderful formulas and her other books. Stay tuned to The Pulse.
I always pay more than the minimum balance on my credit card.
I just opened an education IRA for my kids.
I never invest more money than I can lose.
How are you saving for your future? Find out more great ways to save for your future and choose to save.
Alzheimer's disease, if left unchecked, will strike millions, including baby boomers, their children, and grandchildren in the coming years. As a scientist studying Alzheimer's disease for the American Health Assistance Foundation, I'm well aware that continued research is our only hope for finding a cure. Call 1-800-437-2423 or visit ahaf.org for free publications on Alzheimer's. Learn what you can do to help battle this deadly disease.
We're back with our guest, Queen Afua. Well, thank you again for coming in. We were in such a great discussion talking about this enterprise that you're in, the city of wellness you were saying, and tell us some more about the business that you're in and how you actually got into the entrepreneurial side of it.
It happened organically.
Okay.
You know, it became my calling. I didn't know that. I didn't start off. I was just trying to heal myself.
Right.
And then people started to magnify, and I started to bring them to me, and I started to give workshops and classes, and I became certified in the work, and just continued to grow. I opened up a wellness center, and then I was requested to write books, and I began to write the books. The community actually asked me to do that. Then I was requested to create formulas, and I began to do the formulas to support and help. And so now I'm teaching others to do the work that I'm doing.
That's beautiful.
You know, to continue that it be a legacy, that it doesn't stop with one person, that it continues to move forward and really expand throughout our community globally.
And that's what we need to do in our community. That's one of our failings, I think, in our community, is that we haven't made this connection between our elders and the youth. That is, that sometimes we want to hold on to things as opposed to making that connection so that other folks can continue it and make sure that everybody has an opportunity to be exposed and be healed or get the knowledge about something. So I really appreciate that you take that effort to train other young folks to do that.
Well, if we don't keep a healing legacy, then what will we have for the next generation?
Exactly.
And this is our tradition, and so we will be lost. And when we don't know how to heal ourselves, then we are diseased people. So I had to keep it going. And then I had to find a way to heal myself enough to stay connected to the youth.
Right.
Because that is what it is. My youngest son, Ali Terrain, he's taken on the mantle, and so he's now the president of the Queen Afua Wellness Institute. And then my eldest son, Supernova Islam, hip-hop medicine man, he wrote a book. He followed in my footprints called The Remedy. And then he gives workshops and classes at some of the universities and the schools. So that keeps it going throughout generational healing. As I see the young, the old, and now the babies.
Right, right.
You know, and that's how we're going to begin to build our communities back up from a disease state. Because we know in our communities we have the highest incidence of diabetes, AIDS, depression, fibroid tumors, prostate cancer. It's very serious.
Right.
And so we're suffering from health disparities. So this is the way in which I'm adding my portion so that we can overcome all of that.
Okay. So there's a lot of people who are excited about your move here from Brooklyn to New Jersey. Has that been a smooth transition? How have you been received?
Well, it's been interesting because people from Brooklyn are traveling over. They've been like caravanning, traveling with me.
Okay.
So it's been a bridge between. But it's interesting because in Brooklyn, a lot of people from New Jersey have, through the years, have been coming as clients, taking workshops and classes. So what they're telling me is, Quinn, we're so happy to have you. Now we don't have to make the journey. You have made the journey to us.
Right.
But still here, my goal is to teach and educate so I can create satellites.
Well, thank you very much once again. And I want to thank you out there for joining me and my special guest, Queen Afua. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
I really appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
And, you know, we have her wonderful book here, Overcoming an Angry Vagina, and her other books, Heal Thyself, her wonderful products. She has a plethora of products and other things. And I want to take this time to just say thank you and show you that this is a wonderful way to begin a new venture.